Hey, Pat, this is Mike. How are you?
Hey, Mike. How you doing, man?
Good, man. What's going on?
Not too much. Just sitting in the car, getting ready for a nice long drive back to the Northeast, so I can do it all over again on Friday and move my family to Atlanta.
Oh, man, it sounds like a busy week for you over there.
Sure is, man. It sure is.
Well, you know what? I guess New Jersey's going to miss you. What can I say?
Yeah, we'll see.
Hey, well, look, man, things are looking really good for the band right now. I mean, you've had some releases before Hellbound, but this seems to be the album I think that's going to really put the band out there. I mean, getting signed to it's on E1, right?
E1, Good Fight, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's big time, and it just seems like all the hard work for the last 4 or 5 years is starting to come to fruition right now.
Yeah, it's crazy. We burned the candle at both ends this year, but we kind of took it a little light in the beginning. We weren't really sure what we were going to do. And the first record did pretty well, but, the guys at E1 showed some interest, and, you don't pass up an opportunity like that, so we just decided to get it done. And everything seems to be going really well. The response to the record is, super humbling, and people really seem to be into it, and we did some drastic changes and put a lot more time into the record, so it's nice to have people pay attention a little, you know what I mean?
Yeah, without a doubt, man. That's always a good part about it. Is that something that you worry about when you're writing a record and putting it together, like how people are going to react, or do you just say, hey, you know what, this is what we are, who we are, how we write, and, come along to the ride with us,
It's kind of a little bit of both, I'd say. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm going to write when I want to write. I don't care what a label or, a fan or anybody else thinks, because if they're behind us and they understand what we do musically, then we're going to write something that they like anyway. So we kind of try to, we don't want to get too far away from what we did originally, because we do want to, keep people interested. But at the same time, the creative process for us, I think, is the most important thing. So if we want to write something, super fast and grindy, we'll do it. If we want to write something slow and heavy, we'll do it. I mean, we try to just do what comes out of us, because it's always natural. It doesn't ever feel forced. You know what I mean? So it's important.
Of course. But do you ever worry about branching out and experimenting or going in different directions with the band because of how the reaction might be? Because you're so brutal as it is right now, and as you get older, different influences start to come into your life, and you want to experiment a little bit. Is that something you think about, or is that like a point you're not even at yet with the band?
Well, I mean, if you sit down and listen to the Process of Human Extermination, which is our first record, and then listen to Hellbound now, you can definitely hear that we tried to grow. We tried to do more with melodies and layers. We definitely have more of an atmospheric kind of feel to it, which is a little different for us. It's a little more black metal influenced, I would say. There's a lot of fast, grindy stuff, a lot of time changes. And, we still have our, what people would consider signature breakdown feel, where, the polyrhythmic stuff. But we definitely tried to grow as a band. We definitely tried to try some new things, kind of take from, the stuff that we listened to and the things that we're influenced by, and kind of make a new fit for an Autopsy without losing what we had before. We toured with a lot of different kinds of bands. We toured with Fallujah. We toured with Casey Strain. We toured with Within the Ruins recently. We toured with a lot more death metal bands on a few tours that we did, and it's definitely influenced us, but we didn't want to lose too much. So I think growing is important as long as you hold on to the original idea.
True. And when you do play or go out on tour, I know it's not that easy today. Everyone's like, well, come to my city, come to my state. It's not so simple as, just jumping in a van and going and playing a show. But when you do go out on tour, you try to align yourself with other bands on tour. Do you try to keep it in the same genre of music to appeal to like that audience, or do you look forward to going out with bands that are completely different than you and trying to win over that audience and bring in new fans?
Okay, I'd like to make this a two-part answer if I can.
Go right ahead.
You touched upon the first part, saying that, people want us to come out to certain areas and do certain things. Unfortunately, sometimes bands don't have the ability to choose where they go. It used to be a lot easier. I started touring in like the mid-'90s. So at that point in time, it was easy because gas was cheap. It was easy to get in a van. You could make $150 a night, and then you can go out and go everywhere and not even have to blink. But unfortunately, where we're at right now, gas is expensive, travel is expensive, and it's very difficult to get out there and get it done. So while people are saying, hey, we want you to do this, we want you to do that, we would love to see you do, come play, small town anywhere in the United States. I mean, we want to play everywhere, but unfortunately, it's not so easy. So to all those people who wish we were in their area, understand, we want to come out there, and we will get there, and we'll find a way eventually to get there. But it's not always as easy as ask and go. So there's that thing. And as far as touring with bands that sound like us, man, I don't care. I'll go on tour with anyone. If it works and it's smart and it's going to be good for everybody on the tour package and we're all going to do well together, I'll do anything. I don't care. We're getting ready to go out on this Die Artist Murder tour, which is a tour that I think we fit in very well. Kublai Khan, Last 10 Seconds of Life, Fit for an Autopsy, I Declare War, Die Artist Murder. I mean, I don't really think any tour this year is going to get any heavier than that. So it works perfect for us. But our last tour, we went out with, it was American Me, us, Zabalba, Within the Ruins, and the Acacia Strain. All different types of bands, a couple hardcore bands, a couple of, fancy kind of techie metal bands, and then us, and then the Acacia Strain's just, brutally heavy. So it was a good mix. And like I said, we've done tours with so many different types of bands. We toured with the Acacia Strain actually earlier in the year, and there was a bunch of bands on that tour that were totally different than what we do, like melodic hardcore bands and stuff like that. So we have no restrictions. If your band is good and we're going to work well together and it's going to be a fun tour and we're going to help you and you're going to help us, we're down. So, and there's no better way to get out to a bigger audience either. You know what I mean? So it's hopefully a good mix is what we like.
That's true. If you go back to the beginning of, the days of heavy metal, going back to Black Sabbath, I mean, you go through the 80s, it was hard rock and heavy metal, and then there was hair metal, speed metal, and thrash metal. There were so many genres and subgenres, and I think there's more today than ever before. Do you think being put into a specific group hurts, or does it help a band, especially a new band just starting out, where they kind of get pigeonholed into that, whatever they put them into?
Yeah, that's tough, man. It's hard because, people will say we're a deathcore band, and I have nothing against well-done deathcore. And, a lot of people say, oh, well, it's all breakdowns and this, that, and the other thing. And there's a lot of bands out there that are in that genre that are a lot more like traditional death metal than they are like deathcore bands, because if you look back into the early death metal stuff, bands like Obituary, bands like Suffocation, Morbid Angel, stuff like that, they all had that breakdown feel in their music, just to, even if it was just to make the faster parts sound more dramatic, and to me, putting a band in a specific genre, it can do good things because it can bring you an instant crowd, but it can do bad things because it keeps closed-minded people from hearing your music.
Yeah.
So we always say, hey, you know what, before you throw us into a genre, just give it a listen. And the response from people that don't even necessarily adhere to the whole deathcore thing, bands that are in that genre, has been overwhelming. This is much more a death metal band. This is much more a black metal band. There's so many more influences involved, and I just think it's great to have music with, different opportunity for sound. Who wants to play in a band as a musician that you can't do something different? So, the mixed genre thing, deathcore, metalcore, that whole deal, I love all of it. I love everything. So we would hope that, everybody could get past the whole genre labeling thing and just listen to good, well-made music. But you know how it goes in the industry. It's tough, So, but it's a good question with a very vague answer. It's really impossible to say, because people are going to do what they do. Music is fickle. One day a band is huge, and then the next day people are on to the next thing. So you got to hope that you can establish a fan base no matter what genre you're in, and keep them around.
Yeah.
So
I couldn't agree with you. I couldn't agree with you more. And I've always hated it because, I mean, I could especially tell you, go back 25, 30 years ago, there were a lot of bands, but you could kind of get a hold on all of them, who they were. Today, with the internet, I mean, you're able to find bands from all over the world. There are literally tens of thousands of groups. So, a lot of people just look at deathcore, speed metal, thrash metal, extreme metal, mathematical metal, and they just kind of pick and choose, and they throw the rest aside, not giving them a chance. And I think that's the worst thing in the world. Don't let a label or anybody tell you anything about it. Just play one song. You might be the most favorite band in the world right after that. People just don't seem to be willing to give bands a chance today, and I think that's the saddest part of the whole business. More than the records not being sold, give a band a chance. Play one song. Play it a couple of times. It'll grow on you sometimes. Sometimes it won't. You might not like that band, but at least give it a shot.
That is you're like speaking our mantra right now. Like, that is exactly what we say to everyone. And, it's funny you mentioned, like, early metal and, back then when, it started becoming more extreme. Like, I've been going to shows, listening to bands, playing guitar since I think I started when I went to my first show in 1986 with my older brother. And you would meet people on tour, and you would get their address and do a tape trade.
Yeah.
Because it's a tape trade. You meet some band from California playing a show, you meet their merch guy or whoever, you get in with them a little bit, and then you get their address, and you make a tape of a bunch of different bands that are from your area, and you mail it to them, and then they mail it back, and you become like a pen pal of sorts. And nowadays, you don't even have to do that. I mean, you could just log on to whatever music website and listen to anything. Like, how easy is it just to go ahead and listen to anything you want at any time? Even if you don't like it, you give it 5 minutes of your day while you're washing your laundry, and, I didn't really care for that. But it's like you said, back then music was so hard to get. You appreciated it when it got, you got that tape in the mail. And maybe it wasn't the best thing, but you were so excited to hear something new because it was impossible to get new music that you listened to everything that was out there. And now we're a little spoiled. It's so accessible that, it's easy. And when something's easy, you can take it for granted and take advantage of it and miss out on a lot. So it's a different world for us,
It really is. I mean, I don't have the answer. I don't know if anybody does, like, how to get the business end of it back to the way it used to be, where you wanted to buy a record, you wanted to buy an album, even download the whole record. It doesn't matter. I mean, even pay for it and download it. I don't know how we ever get back to that again, if it ever will be. But it's, I kind of miss that. I miss having that physical copy. I mean, I still buy them, even though I get them the digital. I still get them, and I love it. And like you said, years ago, you went to a club to see a band like in the 80s, and that was your night out. You spent the whole night there watching every band get up on stage, playing, hanging out with your friends, meeting new people. Today, that vibe was kind of gone. It's like the clubs, and it's it's not the people, it's the clubs. Like, come in, give me a couple of dollars for a drink, and get the hell out at 11 o'clock because I got some disco show coming in right after you guys are out the door.
Yeah,
I mean,
let me tell you,
it's crazy.
I've had plenty of nights of having our sets cut because of stuff like that. Plenty of nights. Yep.
It's terrible, but, that's the bad part. But there's so much good in it, too. And, I mean, what do you find the most enjoyable thing about this whole experience and everything you're going through right now with Fifth Floor Autopsy?
I can honestly say the best part overall is the recognition of people saying, hey, this is really good. And it's not that people are paying attention to me or, us as a band, but they're appreciating the work that we're putting in. And that's number one. You know what I mean? That's such an important thing and such a good change for us. It allows us to be, allows us to write and have the possibility to get the music to more people, and that's great to me. And then there's the idea of meeting new people, new bands, getting out on the road. I mean, I have a wife and a son, so when I'm away from home and I'm on the road, it's a real sacrifice, but I feel like it's paying off. People are paying attention and just, not money, not things, but just people appreciating what we do is really great. And it's a total change, I'll tell you, man, because, we went from, not having a lot of people pay attention and people kind of missing our message and what we like to having pretty much overnight people being like, wow, you guys are amazing. We love what you're doing. And it's a really great feeling, to have people appreciate your hard work. So I think that's the payoff,
It really is. And, Pat, I'm not going to keep you much longer. I know you're driving back. I mean, I'm going to see you guys when you get to the New York area. You're playing the Santos Party House, so I'm going to catch you guys when the tour comes around there. You got over a month out on the road, and you're hitting pretty much the whole country from one end to the other. So that's a great thing. But anything coming up locally before you guys take off for this tour?
We're doing some CMJ stuff in New York. We're doing that the Metal Sucks CMJ Showcase, and then we have a couple of small headliners. We are playing Rock and Shock with Danzig, which is like just kind of an honor in itself to play on in the same club in the same day as that band. And then we're actually going to be settling in and doing a music video, so that's going to be pretty cool. And then other than that, it's kind of like break time for a little bit until we do the Iarta's Murder Tour, because at that point, we're pretty much grinding the rest of the winter, and then that's it. We'll be off for a little bit, and then we got some pretty big news coming up for tours in the I guess early spring that I can't really get into too much because everything's just being kind of tied together. But there's some really, really, really cool stuff going on, and we're pretty excited to maybe get some things going on for the early part of spring in 2014. You can expect a lot from us.
I can't wait, man. The new album is out now. It is your best album, I have to say, to date. And next year, I think, is going to be the big year for you guys. And that Danzig show is going to be amazing. And Doyle was playing guitar with him, too, so that's fantastic. Yeah. And see if you could ask Doyle a question. If he gives you more than one-word response, then you'd be like 1 in a million.
Yeah, I hope so. We'll see what happens.
All right. Todd, the best of luck with everything, man. Take care.
Thank you for having me. We'll see you soon.
Anytime.